morning, boys and girls. Today we are working on physical properties, and we have mastered magnetism. We have mastered solid, liquid, and gas. And today we are going to work on relative density. So relative density is how thick something is. Relative is if it will sink or float in water. So remember, we are learning our physical properties because we want to know how to classify matter based on our physical properties. Mass, magnetism, physical states, relative density, solubility, which we're going to get to next week, and the ability to conduct or insulate thermal or electrical energy. Our key vocabulary words, so we have mass, we know about mass, magnetism, physical states, and today, density, dun dun dun, love density. All right, so come on over here to your journal. So we're going to put in our table of contents, we're on page 9, relative density. We're going to flip on over to page 9 and put our title, relative density. Now remember, when we do an investigation, we're going to go through the steps of the scientific method. What's Tuesday going to be? 9th?
8th.
8th. All right, so let me show you what we're going to be doing, what materials you need. So you can pause the video if you need to, and you can go and get your materials. Okay, so you are going to need an empty water bottle. You are going to need your honey packet if you came to see me. If you don't have a honey packet, if you have honey or syrup at your house, that will work. You're going to need your olive oil packet, or at your house, any kind of oil will work. You're going to need some water. So notice I just put some in some graduated cylinder, and I colored it with some food coloring. Okay? Now, when we go through the steps of the scientific method, I should, because my variable is my different substances, so remember your variable is what is different. I should measure to make sure that I'm using the same amount. But since you guys are at home and I am here and you're using your packets, that's going to be a little bit different. But it will still work out. We'll be okay. All right. First step of the scientific method is our question, is our problem, what we are trying to figure out. So here's what I want to know. When I put these 3 different liquids in my bottle, which will sink, which will be more dense, and which is going to float, which will be less dense? That is what I am wondering. I need to put question. Our first step of the scientific method. Question. Which liquid will float, meaning it is less dense if it's floating, and which liquid will sink. If it sinks down to the bottom, it is more dense. Okay? And next we have our materials. So we have our water, our oil, and the honey. And of course the empty bottle. All right. Next, we're going to make our hypothesis. Remember, your hypothesis is your educated guess. So you're going to put, I think blank will be more dense That means you think it's going to sink down to the bottom, okay? And then you're going to put, I think blank will be less dense, okay? Meaning you think it's going to float up on the top. So make your prediction. You can pause the video if you need to while you make your prediction. Okay, now we are going to do our investigation. We're going to do the procedure, the step by step, the procedure. So to document what is happening for my chart, whoops, it's kind of a sad looking water bottle. Okay, here's my water bottle. And I'm going to color in what I observe happening. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do, and I know you probably don't have a funnel. This is called a funnel so that I don't spill. If you were up here at school, we would all be using a funnel. So you're just going to have to pour very carefully. I'm going to pour my water in first into the funnel. Okay. All right. Now for the honey. Actually, you know what? I think I'll do the oil next. Because the oil's kind of, it makes my funnel a little harder to clean. Might need to have scissors on hand. All right, I'm going to carefully pour my oil there is the oil in the water so far. And I'm gonna put in one more oil so that y'all can see it just a little bit better. It's hard to get this little guy to come apart. Whoa. Okay, here we go. Okay, so the oil is floating on top of the water. So I would say the oil is less dense than the water. Okay, next we have our honey. So y'all should already be thinking in your head, where am I thinking this honey is going to go? Will it just go on top of the oil? Will it go in between the oil and the water? Or will it sink all the way down to the bottom? Okay. I think I see something dark on the bottom. Probably would have helped if I didn't make my blue quite as dark as blue. I'm gonna stick, I know you guys only have one packet. I'm gonna stick one more in here just so we can see a little bit better. All right, let's look at, you can see that the honey is all the way down at the bottom. You can see the brown at the bottom. So we would say that the honey is more, ooh, that's good. The honey is more dense than the water and more dense than the oil because it's all the way at the bottom. Okay, and you should be seeing the same thing at your house. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to draw in our results. And I don't have a brown, but I'm going to use orange to be my honey. Okay, remember, you need your drawings to be neat, detailed. Okay, the honey was the most dense. The water is less dense than the honey. Water, less dense than the honey. And then the least dense of all was the oil. And I used olive oil, but this would be true of avocado oil, peanut oil, vegetable oil. Any oil is going to be less dense, okay? So this is our data. This is our results. Conclusion. Okay, I learned the oil is the least dense because the oil floated on top of both the water and the honey. It is the very least dense, okay? The water is more dense than the oil because it sank below the oil, but the water is less dense than the honey because the water is floating on top of the honey. Okay, now we've got the honey, so I'm out of room, so I'm going to come over here, okay, and I'm going to say the honey is the most dense of all because the honey sank down to the very bottom. It was the most dense of all. Okay, so fun thing, we're gonna have relative density part 2. I'm gonna turn this off. I'm gonna start another video, but don't empty your bottle